In the early 1800s, nearly 100 reform communities were established throughout the new nation. These are now called utopias, named after Thomas More's novel Utopia, an outline of a perfect society. Many of these arose from religious beliefs, others were created to counteract social and economic changes that were made by the market revolution.
The most successful utopia was a group of people called the Shakers. Founded by Mother Ann Lee, these communities were spread out between Maine and Kentucky. Their goal was to create a refuge from the evils of the Sodom. Both men and women were treated equally.
I'm an equal!
I'm an equal too!
Wow!
Yeah!
No way!
Yeah!
Each man was assigned a sister to do his sewing on the laundry, and that pretty much was the only interaction men and women had.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing just mighty fine. How about you?
I'm okay. I mean, today was decent.
They lived in separate dorms, and the only way they grew their population was by adopting orphan children.
They were very successful economically because they made furniture.
Oh hey, I didn't see you there. Look at this wonderful circular table I made. It's great shaker furniture.
They also marketed flour and vegetable seeds.
Come buy my certified shaker beans.
The name of this community was given by their religious services, where they engaged in frenzied dancing.
The United Community was quite different from the Shakers. They were founded in 1848 in upstate New York by John Humphrey Noyes. He became a minister and claimed that men could achieve moral perfection. He also claimed that he and his followers had reached a complete purity of heart or sinlessness.
In a perfect world, I'm a perfect person.
They did not believe in owning private property, nor did they believe in traditional marriage. Relationships were fully open, and they could do whatever with whoever they wanted to, as long as they both agreed. This was justified because they considered themselves a holy family and considered themselves to all be married to one another. This practice was called complex marriage.
These interactions were then to be recorded in a public logbook. To demonstrate equality, women cut their hair short and wore pantaloons under long skirts. Members were often highly critical of other followers that violated regulations.
Wow, did you see Ashley today? Who does she think she is?
I know, her hair is so long.
Wow, she's weird.
United became a controlled environment as leaders began regulating relationships. They were also known for making silverware.
Hello, I didn't see you there. Would you like to buy some silverware? I've got lots of it and it's really great.
Brook Farm was created to demonstrate that manual and intellectual labor could coexist. They used the ideas of French social reformer Charles Fourier, who created a detailed plan on how many people would live in the community, how much income they would make, and what people did in their leisure time, like reading music and intellectual discussions.
Who is space? What is time?
Why is quantum physics?
Discipline was not harsh and instead was used to develop a student's sense of responsibility.
That wasn't right. But I hope you can use this as a lesson to do better next time. Stop! That wasn't right. But I hope you can use this as a lesson to do better next time.
It was described as a mini university, and each person had to do a few hours of manual labor each day.
I don't like all this hard work. I'd rather go right.
Writers and students didn't like the labor, and therefore Brook Farm was not very successful and disbanded after a few years.
New Harmony was established by Robert Owen, a British factory owner who disliked the degradation of workers in the Industrial Revolution. He wanted to combine strict rules of discipline with housing and free education.
No! Stop! Get out of that! No! Stop that! Don't move that!
Hi, Kai.
Get out!
Stop it! That is not okay!
Sorry.
Here is your bill for this month.
Sweet.
He created a community in New Harmony, Indiana to create a society according to Enlightenment ideas. Experiments in education, communal living, and science were attempted.
Are you colorblind?
Yes! I am!
What a cool experiment.
Works!
They priced their goods based on the effort needed to produce them.
All right, well, my homework's actually 5, so you can just have that.
Okay.
Thank you.
This community, however, was not very successful because there was no central ideas like religious beliefs to centralize and unite the people. They disbanded after 3 years.
Educational reformers were inspired by the push for free education in Brook Farm and New Harmony.
Women's rights advocates were inspired by the equality between men and women in each of these 4 communities. And labor movements were inspired by the Utopian community's strives for cooperation between the worker and the owner.
Brook Farm was also a huge contributor to the ideas and beliefs in America because it gave people a place to write and express their ideas.
For example, the 3 writers, Margaret Fuller, Walt Whitman, and Henry David Thoreau, were frequent visitors of the community and wrote using the ideas based on Emerson's transcendentalist ideas. Henry David Thoreau wrote about refraining from unjust laws.
Margaret Fuller wrote about women's rights, and Walt Whitman wrote about suffering with passion. Each of these greatly inspired the movements to come throughout the rest of history.